Murder in the first degree, premeditated homicide, is the most serious charge tried in our criminal courts. You have heard a long and complex case, gentlemen and ladies, and it is now your duty to sit down to try and separate the facts from the fancy. One man is dead. The life of another is at stake. If there is a reasonable doubt in your mind as to the guilt of the accused, then you must declare him not guilty. If, however, there is no reasonable doubt, then he must be found guilty. Whichever way you decide, the verdict must be unanimous. I urge you to deliberate honestly and thoughtfully. You are faced with a grave responsibility. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
The jury will retire.
He doesn't stand a chance. Nope. No way. Nope.
Chewing gum?
Nah,
Gum?
thank you, but no.
You know something?
I know lots of things. I'm in advertising.
You know, it's hot.
I wouldn't have known it if she hadn't told me. How about you?
Oh, I guess not. I'd kind of forgotten.
All I've done all day long is sweat.
I bet you're not sweating like that kid who was tried.
You'd think that at least air condition the place. They almost dropped dead in court.
Now look, my taxes are high enough.
This should go fast anyway.
Yes, it's hot.
Well, welcome, jurors. Looks like everybody's here. One thing. If you should need anything, I'll be right behind the door here. All you have to do is knock. Okay?
Did you lock that door?
Yeah, you did.
Who do they think we are, crooks?
They locked us up for a little while.
Then they lock that kid up forever, and that's all right with me.
I never knew they did that.
Sure they want the room. What did you think?
Well, I didn't know. It would have never occurred to me.
We just agreed that it's hot and humid and our tempers are short.
It's been a pretty hard week.
I feel just fine.
I'm just wondering what's going on down at my office. You know how it is in advertising? In 6 days, I could be out of a job and the company gone too. They're not going to like this.
Well, figured this is our duty.
I don't object to doing my duty. I just mentioned I might not have a job when I get back.
Ask him to hire you. He's rich. Look at the suit.
Is that custom tailored?
Yes, it is.
I have an uncle who's a tailor.
Yeah, how's he do?
Not too well. You know, a friend of his, that's a friend of my uncle, the tailor. Well, this friend of his wanted to be on this jury in my place.
Why didn't you let him? I would have done anything to miss this.
And get caught or something? You know what kind of fine you could pay for anything like that? Anyway, this friend of my uncle's was on a jury once. About 10 years ago. It was a case pretty much like this one.
So what happened?
They didn't go.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, reasonable doubt. And you know, about 8 years later, they found out he'd actually done it anyway.
Oh.
A guilty man, a murderer, was just let out on the streets.
Did they get him?
They couldn't.
Why not?
Man can't be held in double jeopardy.
Mm.
Unless it's a hung jury, can't be tried twice for the same crime.
That isn't going to happen here.
6 days. They should have finished it in 2. Talk, talk, talk. You ever hear so much talk about nothing?
Well, I mean, I guess they're entitled, right?
Well, everyone gets a fair trial. That's the system. I guess you can't say anything against it.
How'd you like that business about the knife? Did you ever hear how phony a story?
Well, look, you have to expect that. You know what you're dealing with.
He bought a switch knife that night.
Yeah, and then he lost it.
A hole in his pocket.
A hole in his father.
Awful way to kill your father. A knife in the chest.
Look at the kind of people they are. Come on, you know them.
What's the matter? You got a cold?
Yeah, Lulu. These hot weather colds can kill you.
I had one last year while I was on vacation, too.
All right, everybody, let's take our seats.
Right. This better be fast. I've got tickets to West Side Story for tonight. You must be the only woman in the world who hasn't seen it yet. Okay, Your Honor. Start the show.
How about you sit down? Ma'am, by the window. How about you sit down?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's tough to figure, isn't it? A kid kills his father, bang! Just like that. Well, it's this element. These people, you can't trust them.
There's better proofs than some emotion you might have. Perhaps a dislike for some group.
We all agree that it was hot.
And that our tempers will get short.
Well, that's if we disagree, but this is open and shut. Let's get it done.
All right, we can handle this any way you like. We could discuss it first, then vote. That's one way. Or we could vote right now and see where we stand.
Let's vote now. Who knows? Maybe we can all go home.
Yeah, let's see who's where.
Right, let's vote now.
All right. Let us vote.
All right, anybody doesn't want to vote?
That was easy.
All right, all those voting guilty, raise your hand. 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 guilty. Not guilty?
Hey, you're in left field.
All right, 11 guilty, 1 not guilty. Now we know where we stand.
Do you really think he's not guilty?
I don't know. After 6 days, she doesn't know.
Wait a minute. In 6 days, I could learn calculus. This is A, B, C.
I don't believe that it is as simple as A, B, C.
I never saw a guiltier man in my life.
What does a guilty man look like? He is not guilty until we say he is guilty. Are we to vote on his face?
You sat right in court and heard the same things I did. The man's a dangerous killer. You could just see it.
Where do you look to see if a man is a killer? I would like to know. Tell me what the facial characteristics of a killer are. Maybe you know something I don't know.
Look, what is it about this case that makes you think the boy is innocent?
He's 19 years old.
That's old enough. He knifed his own father 4 inches into the chest. An innocent little 19-year-old kid.
Yeah, I guarantee the boy is guilty, but we should stick away from emotionally colored arguments.
All right. They proved it a dozen different ways. Do you want me to list them for you?
No.
Do you believe that stupid story?
Now.
Do you believe the kid's story?
I don't know whether I believe it or not. Maybe I don't. So what'd you vote not guilty for? There were 11 votes for guilty. It's not so easy for me to raise my hand and send a boy off to die without at least talking about it first. Who says it's easy for me?
Or me.
No one.
he's still just as guilty, whether it's an easy vote or a hard vote.
Is there something wrong because I voted fast? Not necessarily. I think he's guilty. You couldn't change my mind if you talked for 100 years. I don't want to change your mind.
Just what are you thinking of?
I just want to talk for a while. Oh, look. This kid has been kicked around all his life, you know? Living in a slum. His mother dead since he was 9. That's not a very good head start. He's a tough, angry kid. You know why slum kids get that way? Because we knock him over the head once a day. I just think we owe him a few words, that's all.
Sure, it's hard. It's hard for me. I've had to fight for everything that I've got in this world. Worked my way through college. It was a long time ago, and perhaps you do forget. Yeah, I fought, but I never killed.
I know what it's like. I never killed nobody.
I've been kicked around too. Wait to work for an advertising company, and the big boy who buys all the advertising walks in. We all know.
In my country, in Europe, kicking was a science. But let's try to find something better.
I don't mind telling you this, sister, but we don't owe this kid a thing. He got a fair trial, didn't he? You know what that trial cost? He's lucky he got it. Look, we're all grown-ups here, right? You can't tell me that we're supposed to believe him, knowing what he is? I've lived among them all my life. You can't believe a damn word they say. You know that.
I don't know that. What a terrible thing for a man to believe. Since when is dishonesty a group characteristic? You have no monopoly on the truth.
All right, it's not Sunday. We don't need a sermon.
What this man says is dangerous.
I don't see why we should be arguing like this. We ought to be able to behave like civilized people.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Now, if we're going to discuss this case, why we ought to discuss the facts.
I like that point. We've got a job to do. Let's get on with it.
If y'all don't mind, I'm going to close the window. It was blowing on my neck,
If you don't mind, I'd like to have the window open.
but it was blowing on me.
Don't you want a little air? It's summer. It's hot.
I was very uncomfortable.
There are 12 of us in this room. It's the only window, if you don't mind.
I have some rights too.
So do the rest of us.
Hey, couldn't you just trade places with somebody at the other side of the table?
All right, I will open the window if someone will trade with me.
Oh, take my seat.
Thank you.
Shall we get back to the case?
Yeah, let's.
Look, I have an idea here. I'm just going to think aloud. It seems to me that we need to convince her that we're right and she is wrong. We only need to talk for a minute or two. Let's try it on for size.
That sounds fair enough.
Very fair.
Supposing we go around the table once?
Okay, let's start it off.
Okay, we'll start with you.
Oh, well, I don't know. I just think he's guilty. I mean, I thought that was obvious from the start.
In what way was it obvious?
Well, no one proved otherwise.
No one has to prove otherwise. Innocent until proven guilty. The burden of proof is on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't even have to open his mouth. That's in the Constitution, the Fifth Amendment. You've heard of it.
Everybody has.
Well, yeah, obviously I've heard of it. I don't know. I just think he's guilty.
No reasons. Just guilty? There's a life at stake here.
Okay, let's get to the facts. Let's take the old man that lived on the second floor, right underneath the room where the murder took place. After 12, the night of the killing, he heard loud noises from the upstairs apartment. He said it sounded like a fight. Then he heard the kid yell at his father, "I'm going to kill you." And a second later, he heard the body falling. He ran to the door of his apartment and he saw the kid running down the stairs and out of the house. And then he called the police. They found the father with a knife at his chest.
And the coroner fixed the time of death at around midnight.
Right, now what else do you want?
It doesn't seem to fit.
Boy's whole story is flimsy. He said he went to the theater that night. No, that's a laugh. He doesn't even remember what picture he saw.
That's right. Did you hear that? You're absolutely right.
And didn't have no ticket stub either.
Who keeps the ticket stub at the movies?
Oh, that's fair enough.
Well, I suppose, but the cashier didn't remember him either.
Neither did the ticket taker.
Look, what about the woman across the street? Her testimony don't prove it, then nothing does.
That's right. She saw the killing, didn't she?
Let's go in order.
Just a minute. Here's a woman lying in bed. She can't sleep. It's hot, you know? Anyway, she wakes up, she looks out the window, and right across the street, she sees the kid stick a knife in his father.
How can she really be sure it was the kid when she saw it through the windows of a passing elevated train?
She's known the kid all his life. And his window was right opposite hers across the L tracks, and she saw him do it.
I heard her swear to it.
Okay. And they proved in court that you can see through the windows of a passing L train at night and see what's happening on the other side. They proved it.
Just a second ago, weren't you telling us how you don't trust them? How you don't believe them?
So?
Then let me ask you something. How come you believe her testimony? She's one of them too, isn't she?
Pretty goddamn smart, aren't you?
Now, take it easy.
Come on, sit down. What are you letting her get you all upset for? Relax.
Okay, people. They did take us to the woman's window so that we could see through the windows of the moving elevated train. Didn't they?
They did.
And weren't you able to see what happened through the other side?
I didn't see as well as they told me I would see, but I did see what was happening on the other side.
You see? Do you see?
Now calm down. It's your turn.
I think I'll pass.
That's your privilege. How about you?
Well, I first started to be convinced with the testimony from the couple down the hall. They testified, they heard the father and the son arguing sometime around 6 o'clock, I believe. And I could be wrong.
I think it was 7 o'clock, not 6.
That's right, 7.
They heard the boy's father hit him twice, and they saw the kid run angrily out of the house.
Right, right.
What does that prove?
Doesn't prove a thing. Didn't say it proved anything. It's just part of the story. Doesn't prove anything.
Anything else?
No.
I don't know. Most of it's been said already. We can talk all day about this thing, but I think we're wasting our time. I don't.
Neither do I. Go on.
Look at the kid's record. He stole a car. He's been arrested for mugging. I think they said he stabbed somebody in the arm.
They did.
He was picked up for knife fighting. At 15, he was in reform school.
They sent him to reform school for stabbing somebody.
This is a very fine boy. Ever since he was 5 years old, his father beat him up. Regularly, he used his fists. So would I on a kid like that.
You're right. It's the kids. The way they are, you know? They don't listen. I got a kid. When he was 8 years old, he ran away from a fight. I saw it. I was so ashamed. I told him right out, I'm going to make a man out of you or I'm going to bust you up into little pieces trying. When he was 15, he hit me in the face. He is big, you know? I haven't seen him in 3 years. Rotten kid. I hate tough kids. You work your heart out. Anyway, let's get on with it.
Missing the point here. So what if the kid is the product of a filthy neighborhood and a broken home? We can't help that. We're not here to go into the reasons why slums are the breeding grounds for criminals. I know it, and so do you. Kids come out of slum backgrounds are potential menaces to society.
You said that right. I don't want any part of them, believe me.
I have lived in a slum all of my life.
Now, wait a second.
I used to play in a backyard full of garbage. Does it still smell on me?
Now, let's be reasonable. There's nothing personal.
There is something personal.
Come on, calm down. He didn't mean you. Let's not be so sensitive.
Who did he mean?
You can understand his sensitivity.
Now let's stop the bickering.
Yes, fellow jurors, we're wasting time.
It's your turn.
All right. I had a peculiar feeling about this trial. Somehow, I felt that the defense counsel never really conducted a thorough cross-examination. So many questions were never asked.
And it doesn't change my opinion on the boy's guilt, but I'll agree. Defense counsel was bad.
So,
This is the point.
what about facts?
So many questions were never answered.
What about the questions that were answered? For instance, let's talk about that cute little switch knife. You know, the one that fine, upright kid admitted buying?
All right. Let's talk about it. Let's get it in here and look at it. I'd like to see the knife, please, Miss Foreman.
We all know what it looks like. I don't see why we have to look at it again. What do you think?
Well, they got a right to see exhibits and evidence.
All right with me.
That knife is a pretty strong piece of evidence, don't you think?
I do.
Yeah. Well, let's get the events straight as they pertain to the switch knife.
Look, the boy admitted leaving the house at 8 o'clock after being slapped by his father.
Or punched.
Or punched. Boy goes to the neighborhood store and he buys a switch knife. Shopkeeper's arrested the next day when he admits to selling it to him.
Right? I think we all agree that it's an unusual knife. Pretty hard to forget something like that.
Shopkeeper said it was the only one like it he had in stock. So, why did he get it?
As a present for a friend of his, he says.
Am I right so far?
Right.
You bet he's right. Now, listen to this man. He knows what he's talking about.
Next, on the way home from the store, he said it must have fallen out of his pocket. And he never saw it again. There's a story. You know what happened? He took it home, and a few hours later, he stabbed his father with it, and even remembered to wipe off the fingerprints. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Everybody associated with this case has identified this knife. Now you want us to believe that somebody picked it up off the ground, took it to the boy's house, stabbed his father with it, just to be amusing?
No. I'm saying that it's possible that the boy lost the knife and that someone else stabbed his father with a very similar knife. It's possible.
Look at that knife. It's a pretty strange knife. I've never seen one like it before in my life. Now, don't you want us to accept a pretty incredible coincidence?
I'm not trying to make anyone accept it. I'm just saying it's possible.
And I'm saying it's not possible.
What?
Lord.
What are you trying to do?
Yeah, what is this? Who the hell do you think you are?
Look at it. It's the same knife.
Quiet. Quiet. Let's be quiet.
Where did you get that?
I got it from a little junk shop around the corner from the boy's house. Cost me $2.
Now listen to me.
I'm listening.
You pulled a real smart trick here, but you proved absolutely zero. Maybe there are 10 knives like that. So what?
Yeah. Maybe there are.
The boy lied, and you know it.
And maybe he didn't lie. Maybe he did lose the knife, and maybe he did go to the movies. Maybe the reason the ticket taker didn't remember him is because he snuck into the movies and was ashamed to say so. Did anyone here never sneak into the movies once or twice when you were younger?
I didn't.
Oh, really? Not even once?
We didn't have movies.
Look, maybe he did go to the movies, maybe he didn't. And he may have lied. Do you think he lied?
That's a stupid question. Sure he lied.
Do you?
Don't have to ask me, you know my answer. He lied.
Do you think he lied?
I don't know.
Now, wait a second. What are you, the guy's lawyer? Listen, there are still 11 of us who think he's guilty. You're alone. What are you trying to accomplish? You want to be stubborn and hang this jury. He'll be tried again and found guilty sure as he's born. You're probably right. So what are you going to do about it? We could be here all night.
It's only one night, and then may I.
Now come on, this is true.
I think we should get on with it.
How do you like that?
What do you say? You're the one holding up the show.
You obviously don't believe the boy is guilty.
I have a doubt in my
And
mind.
you haven't given us one reason to be able to understand that doubt. There's the old man downstairs, he heard it. He heard the boy shriek it out.
The woman across the L tracks, she saw it.
We know he bought a switch knife that night, and we don't know where he really was. At the movies?
And earlier that night, the kid and his father did have a fight.
He's been a violent kid all the way. And while that doesn't necessarily prove anything,
Still, you know.
I have a proposition to make. I want to call for a vote. I want you, 11 people, to vote by secret ballot. I'll abstain. If there's still 11 votes for guilty, I won't stand alone. We'll take in a guilty verdict right now. Okay, let's do it.
That sounds fair. Does anybody object?
I certainly don't.
Let's roll it.
Perhaps this is best.
Guilty. 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 Guilty.
That's 6.
Please. 6 guilty. 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 Not guilty. Guilty.
Fuck do you like that?
Who was it? I think we have a right to know.
Alright, who did it? What idiot changed their vote?
Is that the way to talk about a man's life?
Whose life are you talking about? The life of a dead man or the life of a murderer?
I want to know who.
So do I.
Excuse me, this was a secret ballot.
No one looked while we did it, and now I want to know.
A secret ballot. We all agreed on that one point, no? This person wants it to remain a secret.
What do you mean? There are no secrets in here. I know who it was. What's the matter with you? You come in here and you vote guilty, and then this slick preacher starts tearing your heart out with some story about a poor little kid who just couldn't help but become a murderer, and you change your vote. But that isn't the most sickening.
Hold it.
hey, I agree with you the boy is guilty, but let's be fair.
Hold it! Be fair, we're trying to put a guilty man in the chair where he belongs, and all of a sudden we're paying attention to fairy tales.
Wait a minute.
Now you listen to me.
Now let's try to keep this organized, everyone.
It's not organized. But let's be civilized.
Please, I would like to say something here. I've always thought that a man was entitled to have unpopular opinions in this country. This is the reason I came here. I wanted to have the right to disagree.
Do you disagree with us?
Usually I would. In this one case, I agree. However, the point I wish to make is that in my own country, I'm ashamed to
Oh,
say.
now! What do we gotta listen to? The whole history of your country?
Hey, it's wise to bear in mind what happens in other countries where men can't disagree. But we can. Well, let's stick to the subject.
Yeah, let's stick to the subject. I want to ask you, what made you change your vote?
I want to know too. You haven't told us yet.
Why'd y'all think I've changed my vote?
Because I do. Now get on with it.
There's nothing for her to tell you. She didn't change her vote. I did.
What?
Well, I was gonna tell you, but you're so sure yourselves.
Sorry. Okay, now
Perhaps you'd like to know why.
let me tell you why that kid's
The man wants to talk.
This person chose not to stand alone against us. That's her right. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone, even if it's something you believe in strongly. She left the verdict up to us. She gambled for support, and I gave it to her. I want to know more. The voters tend to do.
That's fine if the speech is over. Let's go on.
If there was anything in this boy's favor, I'd vote not guilty.
I just don't see what it is.
Neither do I. They're clutching at straws.
As guilty as they get, that's the kid, am I right?
Yeah, well, it's that one juror that's holding everything up. But she'll come around. She's got to. And fundamentally, she is a very reasonable person.
I guess so.
Hasn't given us one reason to be able to understand that not guilty vote yet.
Well, that would be hard, wouldn't it?
I mean, it is hard. What does beyond a reasonable doubt even mean?
What is a reasonable doubt?
Exactly. When a reasonable doubt when a man's life is at stake. It's hard to fathom, right? But you gotta have law and order. You gotta draw a line somewhere. If not, everybody will start knifing people.
Not much room for doubt here.
Yeah, well, two of these people think so, and I'd like to know why, I really would.
Well, you do hear stories sometimes about innocent men who are sent off to jail or even death. And years later, things turn up, you know?
Yeah, then again, you hear about murderers getting loose and doing it again. They turn loose on some technicality, and they kill again.
Listen, now that we're a little bit cooled off, I got a little excited a minute ago. You know how it is. I didn't mean to get nasty. Nothing personal.
Okay.
Look, supposing you answer me this. If the kid didn't kill him, who did? As far as I know, we're supposed to decide whether or not the boy on trial is guilty. We're not concerned with anyone else's motives here. I suppose, but who else had a motive? Well, the father was along in years. Maybe an old grudge?
Remember, it is guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. That is important to remember.
Everyone's a lawyer. Supposing you explain to us what your reasonable doubts are.
That is not so easy. Right now, it is just a feeling. A feeling. Perhaps you don't understand.
No, I don't.
A feeling? What are we gonna do? Spend the rest of the night talking about your feelings? What about the facts?
You said a mouthful. Now look! The old man heard the kid yell, "I'm gonna kill you." A second later, he heard the father's body falling, and then he saw the kid running out of the house 15 seconds after that.
What's the reasonable doubt in that?
That's right, and let's not forget the woman across the street who looked through the open window and saw the boy stab his father. She saw it.
Now, if that's not enough for you,
It's not enough for me.
What is enough for you, I'd like to know?
How do you like her? It's like talking into a dead phone.
The old woman saw the killing through a moving elevated train. The train had 5 cars. She saw it through the last 2. She remembers the most insignificant details.
now what do you have to say about that?
Something doesn't fit.
Well, supposing you think about it. Let's play some tic-tac-toe. We might as well pass the time.
This isn't a game.
Now,
man's life.
Who do you think you are?
Right, let's take it easy.
I've got a good mind to walk around this table and belt her
Now,
once.
wait a minute. I don't want any fights in here.
Did you see her? The nerve! The absolute nerve!
All right, forget it. It doesn't mean anything.
Why don't you just sit down?
This isn't a game. Who do you think you are?
Alright, were we talking about elevated trains?
Yes, we were.
So,
How long does it take an elevated train going at top speed to pass a given point?
what has that got to do with anything?
How long would it take? Guess.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
Neither would I.
I don't think they mentioned it.
What do you think?
I think about 10 to 12 seconds. Maybe?
10 to 12 seconds. I'd say that's a fair guess. Anyone else?
I would think about 10 seconds, perhaps.
About 10 seconds, yeah.
Okay, so 10 seconds. We're agreed. What are you getting at?
An L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point. That given point is the window of the room in which the killing took place. You can almost reach out of that window and touch the L train, right?
That is right. I tried it.
So,
Let me ask you something. Has anyone here ever lived right next to the L tracks?
I live close to them.
They make a lot of noise, don't they?
Yes, ma'am.
I've lived right next to the L tracks. When a train goes by and the window is open, the noise is almost unbearable. You can't hear yourself think.
Okay, you can't hear yourself think. Get to the point.
The old man who lived downstairs heard the boy
He
say,
didn't say it. He screamed it.
that's the way I understand it.
the old man who lived downstairs heard the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you." And then 1 second later, heard a body fall. 1 second, that's the testimony, right?
Right.
So,
The woman across the L tracks said she looked through the last 2 cars of an L train and saw the body fall, right?
so.
The last 2 cars. The last 2 cars?
What are you giving us here?
An L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point, or about 2 seconds per car. The L train had been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds, maybe more, before the body fell, according to the woman. He would have to hear the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you," while the front of the L train was roaring past his nose. There's no way he could have heard it.
What do you mean? Sure he could have heard it.
With an L train going by,
He said the boy yelled it out.
an L train makes a lot of noise.
It's enough for me.
It's enough for me, too.
I don't think he could have heard it.
Maybe he didn't hear it. I mean, with all the L noise.
What are you people talking about? Are you calling the old man a liar?
Something doesn't fit.
Well, it stands to reason.
You're crazy. Why would he lie? What's he got to gain?
Attention, maybe?
Oh, you keep coming up with these bright sayings. Why don't you send one into a newspaper? They pay $2.
What does that have to do with the man's life? Why might the old man have lied? You have a right to be heard.
It's just that I looked at him for a very long time. The seam of his jacket was torn under the arm. Did you notice that? This is a very old man with a torn jacket, and he walked with 2 canes. I think I know him better than anyone here. This is a quiet, frightened, insignificant man. A man who has been nothing all his life. Who has never had recognition, his name in the papers. Absolutely nobody knows him after 75 years. This is a very sad thing. A man like this needs to be recognized. To have his name in the papers, to be quoted just once. This is very important.
Are you trying to tell us the old man would lie about a thing like this just so he could feel important? Oh, come on.
No, he wouldn't really lie, but he might convince himself that he heard those words and that he recognized the face.
Oh, that's the most fantastic story I ever heard. How can you make up something like that?
I am not making it up.
You must be making it up. People don't lie about things like that.
I speak from experience.
What?
I am that man.
Oh, God. I think we understand now. Thank you.
You want to admit you're a liar, that's all right with me.
Now that is too much.
He's a liar. He just said so.
Please, he was explaining.
Didn't you just admit you're a liar?
He did not. He was explaining the circumstances so we could understand why the old man might have lied. There's a difference.
A liar is a liar. That's all there is to it.
Please, have some compassion.
Everyone, please. We have our job and duty here.
I think they covered that.
I hope we have.
All right. Anything else?
Cough drop?
No, thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Anybody want a cough drop?
Come on, let's get on with it.
I'll take one. Thank you. And now, I think we've proven that the old man couldn't have heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you."
Well, I disagree.
Let's hear him through anyway.
But supposing he did hear him say this phrase, "I'm going to kill you," how many times have each of you used it? Probably hundreds. If you do that one more time, Junior, I'm gonna murder you. Go on, Rocky. Kill him. We say it every day. It doesn't mean we're actually going to kill someone.
Don't these circumstances alter that somewhat?
Now look, simple. The old man was murdered.
And one thing more, the phrase was, "I'm going to kill you." He screamed it out at the top of his lungs.
That's right.
And don't try to tell me he didn't mean it. Anybody says a thing like that, the way he said it, they mean it.
And how they mean it.
But if he was really going to kill, do you think the boy would scream out a thing like that for the whole neighborhood to hear? I don't. He's much too bright for that.
Right! He's a common ignorant Slav. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't even speak.
Hey, the kid's bright enough.
I would like to change my vote to not guilty.
Oh, are you sure?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sure.
All right, the vote is 9-3 in favor of guilty.
I'd like to know why you changed your vote.
Well, there's a doubt.
Where? What is the doubt?
Well, there's the knife.
Fine.
She talked you into believing a fairy tale.
Go on. Give us your reasons.
Well, there's the old man. Maybe he doesn't lie, but then maybe he did. Well, maybe the old man just doesn't like the kid.
Well, if that isn't the end,
Well, there is a reasonable doubt.
what are you basing it on? Stories that this lady made up? She ought to write for Amazing Detective Monthly. She'd make a fortune. Listen, the kid had a lawyer, didn't he? Why didn't his lawyer bring up all these points?
Lawyers can't think of everything.
Oh, brother! You sit in here and pull stories out of thin air. Now we're supposed to believe that the old man didn't get out of bed, run to the door, and see the kid beat it downstairs 15 seconds after the killing.
That's the testimony I believe.
And the old man swore to this. Yes, he swore to this. Only so he could be important.
Did they say the old man ran to the door?
Ran, walked, what's the difference? He got there.
Well, I don't remember, but I don't think he could run.
He said went. I remember. He said he went from his bedroom to the front door. That's enough, isn't it?
Where is the old man's bedroom again?
Oh, somewhere down the hall.
Somewhere down the hall? Are we to send a boy off to die because it's somewhere down the hall?
I thought you remembered everything. Don't you remember that?
No, I don't.
I don't remember it either.
I would like to see the diagram of the apartment, please, Miss Foreman. Why don't we have him run the trial over just so you can get everything straight? Please, do you know where the old man's bedroom is? A life is at stake. Do you know? Well, Miss Foreman?
I heard you.
All right, what's this one for? How come you're the only one in the room wanting to see exhibits all the time?
Well, I want to see this exhibit too.
Yeah.
So do I.
I want to stop wasting time.
Are we gonna start wading through this nonsense about where the body was found again?
No. We're going to figure out how an old man who's had 2 strokes in the past 3 years and walks with a pair of canes could make it to his front door in 15 seconds.
He said 20 seconds.
He said 15 seconds.
Well, how does he know how long 15 seconds is? You can't judge a thing like that.
He said 15. He was very positive about it.
He's an old man. You saw that. Half the time he was confused. How could he be positive about 8? Well, you know.
I don't know, but maybe you do.
Must be a hold up in the evidence room.
Must be.
But I don't remember how long that is. Oh, that's it. Thank you. The head. Yeah, well, maybe that'll clear that up.
You want this?
Yes, please.
I yeah, I think so.
Do me a favor. Wake me up when this is over.
I look at that diagram for 2 hours. Enough is enough.
Yeah, well, some of us are still interested. Go on.
All right. This is the apartment in which the killing took place. The old man's apartment is directly beneath it, exactly the same. Here's the window, and here are the L tracks. Living room, bathroom, kitchen, and here's the hallway. Here's the front door of the apartment, and here are the steps. So the old man testified that he got out of bed, went out into the hall, down the hall, and opened the front door just in time to see the boy racing down the stairs. Am I right?
That's the story.
That's what happened. 15 seconds after he heard the body fall,
Correct?
the old man was in bed by the window. The length of this bedroom is 12 feet. The length of the hallway is 43 feet. So you're telling me that the old man got out of bed, got his canes, walked 12 feet, opened a door, walked 43 feet, opened another door, all in 15 seconds? Do you think this possible?
You know it's possible.
I don't see why not.
He would have been in a hurry. He heard the scream.
He can only walk very slowly. There to help him into the witness chair.
You're making it sound like a long walk. It's not.
For an old man with 2 canes, it's a long walk.
Now what are you doing?
I want to try this thing. I want to see if he could really make it all that way in 15 seconds. I'm going to pace off 12 feet, the length of the bedroom.
You're crazy. You can't recreate something like that.
Perhaps if we could see it. This is an important point.
It's a ridiculous waste of time.
Let her do it.
I don't see any harm in it. Foolish, but go ahead.
Can I use your chair, please?
Certainly.
Thank you. This will be the front door. How far would you say it is from here to the door of this room?
About 20 feet.
20 feet? Fair guess. So from here to the door and back is 40 feet. It's shorter than the length of the hall that the old man had to move through, right?
A few feet, maybe.
Look, this is ridiculous. What makes you think you can do this?
We can't stop her.
Mind if I try it? According to you, it'll only take 15 seconds. We can spare that. Can I use your cane?
Sure.
Thank you. Who's got to watch with a second hand?
Oh, I have.
Can I use your cane too? Thank you. Stomp your foot when you want me to start. That'll be the body falling.
I'll time you from there.
Let's say he keeps his canes right by his bedside.
Right?
I'm ready.
I'm just waiting for the hand to get to 60.
Speed it up. He walked twice as fast as that.
This is even more quickly than the old man moved in the courtroom.
No, it isn't.
If you want me to go faster, I will.
Speed it up a little.
Stop.
Right.
What's the time?
39 seconds.
39
That
seconds.
can't be.
That is interesting.
Now, you know...
39
What do you
seconds.
What do you think of that?
39.
That old cripple swore on his oath that it was 15.
She may have been a little bit off on the speed that the old cripple moved at, but 24 seconds off, well, now you know.
Far be it from me to call anyone a liar, but even allowing for quite a difference in speed between the old man and you, I mean, still, that is quite a...
Quite a discrepancy.
It's my guess that the old man was trying to get to the front door when he heard someone running down the stairs and assumed it was the boy.
That's a possibility.
Assumed. Now listen to me, you people. I've seen all kinds of dishonesty in my day, but this little display takes the cake.
What dishonesty?
Tell her. You come in here, your heart bleeding all over the floor about slum kids and injustice. You make up these wild stories and you got some soft-hearted old ladies listening to you. Well, I'm not. I'm getting awful sick of you. What is the matter with you people? This kid is guilty. He's got to burn. We're letting him slip through our fingers.
Our fingers? Are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull the switch.
For this kid, you bet I'd like to pull the switch.
I'm sorry for you.
Don't start with me.
What it must feel like to want to pull the switch.
Just shut up.
You're a sadist.
Shut up.
You want this boy to die because you personally want it, not because of the facts. You're a beast. You disgust me.
Shut up! Let me go! I'll kill her! I'll kill her!
You don't really mean you'll kill me, do you?
Jurors, is there anything wrong? I heard some noise.
No, there's nothing wrong. You can take that back. We're finished with it.
What are you looking at?
I don't see why we have to behave like children here.
Nor do I. We have a responsibility. This is a remarkable thing about democracy. That we are, what is word? Notified. That we are notified by mail to come down to this place and vote on the innocence or guilt of a man. Of a man we have not known before. We have nothing to gain or lose from this verdict. This is one of the reasons why we are strong. We should not make it a personal thing.
Thank you very much.
What do you think?
We forget. It's good to be reminded.
Glad we're gonna be civilized about this.
Yeah, gang, but we're still nowhere.
No, we're somewhere. Or getting there, maybe?
Maybe.
Who's got an idea?
Why don't we try another vote? Miss Farmer?
It's all right with me. Anybody object?
I want an open ballot. Let's call out our votes. I want to know who stands where.
That sounds fair. Is that okay with everyone? All right. I'll call out your jury numbers. I vote guilty. Number 2.
Not guilty.
3.
Guilty.
4.
Guilty.
5.
Not guilty.
6.
Not guilty.
7.
Guilty.
8.
Not guilty.
9.
Not guilty.
10.
Guilty.
11.
Not guilty.
12.
Guilty.
6 to 6.
I'll tell you something. The crime is being committed right in this room.
All right. The vote is 6 to 6.
I'm ready to walk into court right now and declare a hung jury. There's no point in this going on anymore.
Well, I want to know why you changed your vote, and you changed your vote, and you did. There are 6 of us here that think we might be turning a murderer loose. Emotions won't do. Why?
Well, for one, I don't think the old man saw the kid run down the hall. And another thing is, I don't think he heard the kid scream, "I'm going to kill you." Old man dreamed. And if he did scream, "I'm going to kill you," we have this person right here to prove that they might not actually mean they're going to kill someone.
Why not take it into the judge and let the kid take his chances with 12 other people?
There's a reasonable doubt I don't see it.
The doubt is there in my mind.
I think we ought to get on with it.
Well, maybe we should do a vote.
Not again.
That's what we should do, yeah.
Wait a minute. Vote on what?
Are we or aren't we a hung jury?
Exactly.
You mean we vote yes, we are a hung jury, or no, we are not a hung jury?
That's just what I'm thinking of.
We can't even agree whether or not the window should be open.
All right, let's make it a majority vote. The majority wins.
So, 7 or more of us voted yes. We're a hung jury. We're going to take that into the judge and tell him we're a hung jury.
Right. And if 7 or more of us vote no, then we aren't a hung jury and we go on discussing it.
Doesn't seem quite right to me.
It's the only solution.
I agree, it's the only way.
Anything to end this damn thing.
All right, then we're all agreed. If 7 or more of us vote yes, we take it into the judge.
Let's call our votes out.
All right. No, I vote yes, we are a hung jury. Number 2,
No.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5,
No.
6,
No?
7,
Yes.
8,
No.
9,
No.
10,
Yes.
11,
No.
12,
Yes.
Oh no.
6 to 6.
We can't even get a majority to decide whether or not we're a hung jury.
Well, I went along with the majority vote on this, and I didn't agree to voting that way, and I still don't. So I'm going to change my vote to no. I do not think we are a hung jury. I believe that boy is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, and there's still some things I want to find out from those of you that changed your mind.
Then we aren't a hung jury, so we go on.
Good, we go on.
Why did you change your vote?
Oh. I mean, juror number 8 seems really convinced, and she's made a bunch of very good points. Juror number 3 just gets mad and yells at everyone.
Do the anger and insults change the guilt of the boy? He did it. Are you going to turn a murderer loose because one of the jurors is angry and we might be turning a murderer loose?
Maybe you're right.
There's a doubt.
I don't think so. The track is straight in front of the old woman's window. Let's take that point. L trains make a low rumbling noise. They screech when they go around corners. So, the old man downstairs could have heard the scream, which would have been high-pitched. And remember, it's a tenement, and the walls are thin.
Good, good. That's it. That's it.
So the old man could have been wrong about the time it took, but right about whom he saw running down the stairs. I suppose it could have taken a murderer about 39 seconds to wipe off the fingerprints and run down the stairs to the point where the old man saw him. The boy, that is.
This is right.
And it still could have taken a few seconds for the murderer to pull out a handkerchief and wipe off the fingerprints to boot.
What if we time it?
Right? Why don't we time this one? See.
Well, just what are we timing?
Yes, let's be exact, please.
The old man could have been wrong about the time it took, but right about whom he saw. Like I said, it could have taken him 39 seconds to wipe off the fingerprints, get down the stairs, right to the point where the old man saw him.
We reconstructed the old man getting out of bed and going down the hall. We timed that. How about we reconstruct the actual crime?
As well as we can reconstruct it.
I think a murderer could use up 30 to 40 seconds pretty easily at that point.
Well, let's reconstruct the killing.
Yes, let's.
Yeah, let's. Here, you do the stabbing.
I'll do it.
Why don't you be the one that gets stabbed? You are younger than me, and but don't forget you take a second to fall.
And the old man was found on his side, his right side. So when you fall, roll onto your right side. And if a man hates another man enough to murder him, don't you suppose it's reasonable to think that he might take a second or two to look at his victim afterwards?
Divorce yourself in this particular case. It's just human nature.
Yes, this seems possible.
And another thing, too, is that he falls and he ends up on his right side. The father did. But stabbing someone isn't the same as shooting them, even when it's right in the heart. I think he would have worked around a few seconds lying there on the floor, writhing, maybe?
It's reasonable. There should have been enough oxygen in his blood to carry him for a second or two, I suppose.
Wouldn't the father have cried out?
Maybe the kid held his mouth?
That is also a possibility.
Another point that I'd like to bring up. If somebody was clear enough of mind to wipe their fingerprints off the knife, they would have been clear enough of mind to look around the room for any other clues that had been left about. They could only be for a second or two, but he would look.
This gets better and better.
We're trying to make it clear. One doesn't talk quality when murder's involved.
Now about this, on the fingerprints, the kid wiped the knife of the fingerprints, but what about the doorknobs? I mean, if I saw a man walking into my house, a man that hated me, and he was wiping the doorknobs with a handkerchief as he walked in, I'd be pretty nervous. So the doorknobs must have been wiped after the killing, and that would take a few seconds too.
You timed the last one, why don't you time this one? Alright, stomp your foot when you want me to start.
Okay. I'm just waiting for the hand to get to 60 again.
I'm going to kill you! You would have wiped both sets of knobs? Alright, stop.
Right. 20, 25, 29 seconds?
And whoever did kill the old man, and I believe it was the boy, still had to run down the hall and run down the stairs at least one flight of stairs.
You see? You see?
It seems like the time sequences check out. The one that you did and the one they did.
Sure, he's an
Yeah,
old
what
man.
with running down the stairs and everything, I would say it does seem that both do check out on time.
He's probably right. But the old man feels the way everyone does. A life is at stake.
Yeah, well, the old man's story very well could be true.
Except for that he absolutely swore, under oath, that it was only 15 seconds.
We seem to all agree that it was 25 to 40 seconds.
It now seems that the old man lied in one instance, might have told the truth in another. I do admit that this does tend to confirm the time sequences, but in part he is now a proven liar, and this is by your own admission.
That may be true that the old man lies in part, but I think it will change my vote again. Guilty.
What about you? What do you think now?
I'm not so sure what I think. I do want to talk more though. First I thought guilty. Then that changed. Now I'm leaning more towards guilty.
And what about you?
No, I am now in real doubt. Real doubt.
Well, I say guilty. I was right the first time.
Now we're beginning to make sense in here.
All right. It seems like we're about 9-3 in favor of guilty.
One more question about the old man downstairs. How many of you live in apartment buildings?
I don't know what you are thinking, but I know what I am.
What is that?
I do not live in a tenement, but it is close. And there is just enough light in the hallway so you can see the steps. No more. The light bulbs are quite small. And this murder took place in a tenement. Remember how we stumbled on the steps?
The police officers were using big bulbs. One even had a flashlight, remember?
An old man who misjudged the time by 20 seconds. On this we all agree. The old man looked down the dark hallway of a tenement and recognized the running figure.
He was 100% wrong about the time it took. It took twice as long as he said it did.
Then could not the old man have been 100% wrong about who he saw?
That's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. You're making that up out of thin air.
Hey, we are a hung jury. Let's be honest about this.
Do you truly feel that there is no room for reasonable doubt?
Yes, I do.
I beg your pardon, or maybe you don't understand the term reasonable doubt.
What do you mean? I don't understand it. What do you think you want to talk to me like that? How do you like this guy? He comes over here running for his life, Before he can even take a big breath, he's telling us how to run the show. The arrogance of him.
Nobody's asking where anybody came from.
I was born right here.
Or where your father came from.
Maybe it would do us well to take some tips from people who come running here. We're not so perfect.
Yes, I'm used to this. It's alright. Thank you.
It's not all right. Okay, I apologize. Is that what you want? That's what I want.
All right, let's stop the arguing. Who's got something constructive to say?
Well, there's something's been bothering me a little bit. There was that whole business about the stab wound and how it was made. The downward angle of it, you know?
Tell me we're gonna start that. They went over it and over it in court.
I know they did, but I don't go along with it. See, the boy was 5 foot 8 inches, right? They said the old man, or the father, was 6 foot 2 inches. That's a difference of half a foot. It's an awful awkward thing to stab down into the chest of a man who's 6 inches taller than you are.
All right, you're not gonna be satisfied until you see it again. I'm gonna give you a demonstration. Somebody get up. Now pay attention. I don't want to have to do this again. Is this 6 inches?
No, it's more than 6 inches.
Let it be more.
Look out!
It's not funny.
What is the matter with you?
Oh, calm down. Nobody's hurt, are they?
No, nobody's hurt.
There is your angle. Take a look at it. Down and in. Down and in. That's how I'd stab a taller man in the chest, and that's how it was done. Take a look at it and tell me I'm wrong.
I don't know. Down and in. Doesn't seem to be much in the way of doubt there.
Guess not.
Have you ever stabbed someone?
Of course not.
Have you?
Let's not be silly.
Have you?
No.
Have you ever seen someone stabbed?
No.
Then where do you get all your information on how it's done?
What do you mean? It's just common sense.
This is a boy who is experienced with switch knives. He even went to reform school for knifing someone, isn't that so?
That's right.
Look at that. It's a real awkward way to handle a knife, don't you think?
What are you asking me for?
Yeah, wait a minute. Give me that knife.
Have you ever seen someone get stabbed?
Yes, ma'am.
In the movie?
On my stoop, in my backyard, across the street in the vacant lot. Too many of them. Switch knives were part of the neighborhood I grew up in. Funny how I didn't remember that. Well, I guess you just forget things like that. Well, anyway, anyone who had any experience with a switch knife would know you would never stab down one. You just don't use like that. You use a switch knife underhanded.
Then he couldn't have made the kind of wound that killed his father.
It's conceivable you could cause a wound like that, but anyone with experience with switch knives, no. And we all know the boy had a lot of experience with the switch knives.
I don't believe it.
Neither do I. You're giving us a lot of mumbo jumbo.
What do you think?
What? I don't know.
How about you? Listen, I'll tell you all something. I'm a little sick of this whole thing already. I'm getting nowhere fast. Let's break it up and go home. Before we decide anything more, I want to try to put this all together.
Oh, this should be good.
They got it right. Let them go ahead.
Would you like me to time this one too?
Let's hear her.
Hey, I'm in advertising. I'm used to the big shots coming in and pulling everything together. I suggest we chip off a few shots and see how many land on the green.
I want you all to look at this logically and consistently.
We have. Guilty.
Then I want to know, is the kid smart or is he dumb?
What do you mean?
This is a boy who has a lot of experience with knife fighting. He was sent to reform school for knife fighting. That night, he went out and bought a knife, a switch knife. It would then take a very stupid boy to go out and murder a man, his father, with an instrument that everyone would associate with the kid.
I quite agree. He is dumb.
But if he was dumb, then why did he make the kind of wound that an inexperienced man would make with the knife?
I'm not sure I understand.
To murder someone must take great emotion, great hatred. And at the moment of the murder, he would handle the knife as best he could. And a trained knife fighter would use it as he had been trained. Underhanded. A man who had not been trained would go overhand. But the boy is being very smart. Everyone knows that he is an experienced knife fighter, so he makes the kind of wound that an amateur would make to lead us to suspect someone else. This is a very smart boy. Smart enough to wipe fingerprints away, and perhaps even smart enough to do the killing as an L train is going by to cover the noise. Now, is the kid smart? Or is he dumb?
Oh, wait a minute.
Well, the woman across the L track saw the murder through the L train. So someone on the L train could have seen the murder as well.
A possibility, but no one did that we know of.
But only a very stupid person would try to do the murder where someone else might also be there.
Exactly. A dumb man, a very stupid man, a man swept by emotion. Probably he heard nothing. He probably didn't even know the train was coming. And whoever did murder the father did it as well as he could.
So?
This is a kid who has done everything to associate himself with the murder. A switch knife murder. That's a very dumb thing to do. But at the minute of the murder, he becomes smart. Smart enough to make the kind of wound that would lead us to suspect someone else, but at that same instant is dumb enough to do the killing as an L train is going by. And then once more, he becomes smart again. Smart enough to wipe away the fingerprints. To say the kid is guilty, you have to say that he is stupid from 8 o'clock until about midnight. At midnight, he is smart for 1 second, and then dumb for a few seconds, and then once again becomes smart. And then, once again, he becomes stupid. So stupid that he doesn't even think of a good alibi. To say the kid is guilty, you have to toss his intelligence like a pancake. There is doubt, doubt, doubt.
I hadn't thought of that.
And the old man, on the stand, he swore to 15 seconds, insisted on 15 seconds. But we all seem to agree it must have been closer to 40 seconds.
Does the old man lie half the time, and then does he tell the truth the other half of the time?
And to say the kid is guilty, he must be stupid, then smart, and so forth. And to say the kid is guilty, the old man must be a liar half of the time, and the other half of the time he must tell the truth. You can reasonably doubt. I'm sold on reasonable doubt.
I think I am too.
Well, I wanted more talk. Now we've had it.
I want another vote.
All right, does anyone object? Okay, I think the easiest way is by a show of hands. Is that okay? All right, all those voting not guilty, raise your hand. 9 guilty. 3. The vote is 9-3 in favor of acquittal.
I don't understand you people. How can you believe that this kid is innocent? Look, don't you know how these people lie? I don't have to tell you. They don't know what the truth is. And let me tell you, they don't really need a big reason to kill someone either. You know, they get drunk and bang! Someone's lying in the gutter. Oh, no one's blaming them. That's just the way they are. You know what I mean? Violent. Human life doesn't mean as much to them as it does to us. Where are you going? Listen, these people, they're drinking and fighting all the time. And if someone gets killed, so someone gets killed. They don't care. Oh, sure. There's some good things about them, too. Look, I'm the first to say that. I've known a few who were good, but that was just a few. You know, most of them, they have no feelings. They can do anything. What are you all doing? I'm speaking my piece and you listen to me. They're no good. There's not anything about them that's any good. We better watch out. And listen to me, this kid on trial, well, don't you know about them? What are you doing? I'm trying to tell you something.
That's enough. Another word out of you and I'll split your skull.
I'm just trying to tell you something.
All right, everybody sit down. I still believe the boy is guilty. And I'll tell you why. For me, the most damning bit of evidence is the testimony of the woman across the street who saw the murder committed.
That's right. As far as I'm concerned, that is the most important testimony.
Then let's go over her testimony. What exactly did she say?
I believe I can recount it accurately. She said she went to bed at about 11 o'clock. She lays next to an open window through which you can see directly into the window across the street. She lays there in bed for a little over an hour, unable to sleep, tossing and turning. And then, at 12:10, she looks over and she sees the boy stab his father. As far as I can tell, that's unshakable testimony.
That's right. That's what I mean. That's the whole case.
And in view of this, I don't see how you can vote to acquit. What do you think?
Well, maybe, but there's so much evidence to sift through. I can't,
What do you mean, maybe? He's absolutely right. You can throw out all the other evidence.
That's the way I felt about it. Now, I don't doubt the validity of any of the points that you've made. Shall we say that on this side of the tracks, there's doubt? But what of the old woman's testimony? She saw it.
What time is it?
17 minutes of 9.
You don't suppose they'll let us go home early? I got a kid with the mumps.
Oh, not a chance, honey.
Can't you see the clock without your glasses?
No, I can't even see my watch without them.
Glasses are a nuisance, aren't they?
Well, what do you do when you wake up at night and want to know what time it is?
I put my glasses on and look at the clock.
I just lay in bed and wait for the clock to chime. Got it from my father when we were married, the clock. 10 years before I had a place to put that thing.
Do you ever sleep with your glasses on? Wear your glasses to bed?
Of course not. No one wears eyeglasses to bed.
What about the old woman who testified that she saw the killing? She wears glasses. What about her?
Did she wear glasses?
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course. The woman wore bifocals. I remember this very clearly. They looked quite strong.
That's right. Bifocal. She never took them off.
I think it's logical to say that she was not wearing her glasses to bed. And I don't think she'd put them on to glance casually out the window. She testified that the murder happened the moment she looked out, and that the lights went out a split second later. She wouldn't have had time to put on her glasses. Now, perhaps she honestly believes that she saw the kid stab his father. I say she only saw a blur.
How do you know what she saw? Maybe she's farsighted. How does she know all these things?
Does anyone still feel like there's no reasonable doubt?
I think I will always wonder. But damn it, there is a reasonable doubt.
I think he's guilty.
Does anyone else?
Funny, I never thought of it before, but I'm convinced. There is a reasonable doubt.
You're alone.
It's 11 guilty, 1 not guilty.
It's the other way around.
Other way around. Wow, so many votes. Driving me crazy. 11 not guilty, 1 guilty.
I don't care whether I'm alone or not. I have a right.
Yes, you do have a right.
Well, I told you, I think he's guilty. What else do you want?
Your arguments.
I gave you my arguments.
We're not convinced. We're ready to hear them again. We have the time.
Listen, what's the matter with you? You're the guy. You made all the arguments. A guilty man, a murderer, is going to be let loose on the street. He's got to die. Stay with me.
No, I'm convinced. I'm not wrong often. I'm really not. But I suppose there is this once. There is a reasonable doubt in my mind.
You're not going to intimidate me. I have a right to my opinion, and it's going to be a hung jury. That's it.
There's nothing we can do about that, except hope that maybe, why, here in a few months, you might just be able to sleep.
Honey, you're all alone.
It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone.
And if we are a hung jury, the boy's going to be tried again. And some of us are going to point these facts out to the various lawyers.
Right.
All right.
Finished this trial an hour ago.
Tell me about it. They're waiting. Not guilty.
Not guilty.
And our producer, Wendy. And our stage manager, Heather, who could not make it tonight.
And Leah, running lights.
Leon, hi.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Now it's your turn.
It was never touched on in the play, but the coroner fixed the time of death at 12 o'clock, and the old man said the body fell at 8 o'clock. It doesn't take 4 hours to bleed out from a stab wound in the heart. We could have